So I just wanted to start off that if you take out all the slow motion parts of this movie, it would only be 2 hours long.
Uh-huh. For dumb tish. Okay. You got your corny joke out the way. Can
Oh,
we get to the real
I
subject
have
now?
more.
Save it for later. For later, please.
I have like 6 pages
Oh,
of
no, right?
notes
No,
on
this
this
is a
film.
joke. You know what's ironic? All the slow motion were reserved for the fastest guy on the team. I
Yeah.
hope you noticed that.
Well, not
It
all
was
of
like,
it.
wow.
But every
Most of
time
it.
like action was happening, he's like, you have to see this part. But anyway,
In
if you
slow
guys
motion.
haven't guessed, today we are talking about I had to turn on the light. Today we are talking about Justice League, the Snyder Cut. Or,
Mhm.
if you want to abbreviate it, it's
The real version.
JSLTZC. Right? That's how it goes.
And
That's the
yeah,
abbreviated
even yeah.
What?
JSLTZC. If you want to, that's a quicker way to
You're
say
even
it.
better.
No.
It's gonna catch on.
You're even better than me. Okay.
So, guys, what was your thoughts about it? What's your initial thoughts?
Who wants to go first? For you?
My initial thoughts.
Like,
I like how we got it on me, even though I said Skipper.
Patrick, tell us your initial thoughts.
On the movie?
Yeah, like what was your overall view? Like,
What does that question mean? I don't know.
how do like? So you know what?
What do you
I'll
mean?
start.
You mean after watching it? What is my
Yeah, what's your like? What was the when you watched it? What was the feeling that you were, or before going into it? What was your feelings? And then
I had no feelings towards the movie before going into it. To be honest with you, I wasn't excited for it at all. I literally didn't care.
this is,
And that's not. I'm not saying that because I didn't. I'm just not. I'm not. DC isn't really my thing. Like I loved Man of Steel. I think it was the greatest. It's the greatest DC EU movie ever.
it isn't, but okay. I
It
mean, well,
is. It is.
everyone's
It was
entitled to their
definitely
opinion.
what.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
And so I really enjoyed that. Other than that, the rest were like Wonder Woman was good, Aquaman was okay, um, Batman vs Superman
Greatest film
horrible,
ever. Perhaps a
definitely
metaphor for
horrible.
modern life.
One of the worst films ever constructed
It is
in the
because
history
it's
of
because it's
film.
not a film.
Um,
It's a lifestyle.
and the original Justice League was
So cocaine.
just stupid. It was a dumb movie. But this one,
I can agree with you on that.
like I said, I didn't have any. There was nothing there because again, I didn't. I had no attachment to Zack Snyder, other than the fact that, like I said, Man of Steel was pretty good, and so people hyped it up, and I saw it, and honestly, I enjoyed it. It was definitely better, but I mean, there's everything is up from the ground floor. You know what I mean? So the ground floor being the original Justice League,
Haters gonna
like
hate.
literally, you
Well,
have
you
to
know what?
descend into the pits of hell in order to be worse than that film. So yeah, so I liked it. I think that it was definitely too long. That was my first impression. Like it had unnecessary things, but I believe that I gave it a pass because I think that Zach felt like there was nothing left to lose, and so just throw it all out there,
Right.
give people everything that was intended. Like this isn't a theatrical cut. This was like, hey, this is everything that I wanted you to see And so here it is.
He
Have it
actually
all,
didn't put everything in it. He actually shot a
right?
third Green Lantern that he took out of it, because the studio was like, "Don't put green." He had the black Green Lantern in it, and the studio was like, "You can't do that." And so the trade off was because, and he's like, he assumes it's because they want to make a Green Lantern movie again or whatever, right? So the trade off is the reason why we have the Joker and Martian Manhunter, because he was like, well, if I can't,
Yeah.
do Green Lantern, then you have to let me shoot this other thing. But he already shot apparently Green Lantern. He just didn't use it.
Yeah. Those scenes were pointless and unnecessary. Like, but to close, what I will say is that when we're talking about first impressions, the film caused me to react emotionally, and that's something that no DC film has done.
Hate is all
At least
over
for me, besides Man of Steel. Man of Steel got me to respond, like, because it was a Superman film, right? And this film got me to respond in that way because there were things that were added with Flash and Cyborg and with Superman himself that really got, like, you were able to connect with those characters in a way that you weren't able to in the initial release. And so that's why I feel like, this was definitely a better telling of that story. So
Fano, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, I have to go back to the first movie. And in terms of the first movie, I didn't hate it, nor did I love it. It was just one of those cash grab movies for me where it's like, oh, let's go watch it. Yeah, this movie was so watch it. Yeah, see that I have no opinion of that. It's like, why was it horrible exactly? But then when you look at this one, where you have all that character development in terms, like Patrick was saying, with Cyborg and his father and his mother and why the way he is, um, Wonder Woman. I remember talking to you guys about how terrible Wonder Woman 1984 is,
Right.
and how
I've not watched it.
The men. The men in it were basically idiots. But then, even though that scene where she appears and she saves the little girls on the field trip didn't change much, but somehow it was more impactful in terms of like what Wonder Woman was a character. You know what I mean? I'd even comparing that to Wonder Woman 1984, where everything was campy and cheesy, but it was stupid campy and cheesy. It wasn't like, oh yeah, this is good, the good type, like Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, with Tobey Maguire.
That wasn't campy.
That was very campy.
Well, the third one was kind of campy.
Yeah, but the third one doesn't count. We don't consider the third one. That's not canon. That never happened. Isn't the Punisher in the third one? That never happened.
What?
The Punisher is in the third one, and then like his father was supposed to come back. It's weird. It's a bunch of, it doesn't count. So I think that the best.
It's a lot more. But I think anyway. Should I get into my favorite change? Are we going to talk about our favorite changes? Should I mention this now? Or should I
no, this is what we're gonna. I think the easiest way to go about this is because it's such a long film. It was 4 hours, right? It's very easy for us to just meander about trying to figure it out. So I think the best way to do it is we discuss it in terms of each character, and that will kind of help navigate it. So we could be like, the changes that were made to Batman's presence in this film, the changes made to Superman's presence, I just go down the list from the top tier all the way down to the bottom tier of Aquaman. Or maybe we start with Aquaman and then we work our way up to Batman, right?
Well,
I'm just saying.
Talking about the heroes, if we're only talking about the heroes,
if we're not talking about the heroes, then don't talk about Aquaman. I agree with you 100%. Aquaman is the least.
We won't be talking about my favorite change to the movie,
which is,
and it was a very big change.
Go ahead.
Steppenwolf.
No, we're going to talk about Steppenwolf.
Okay then,
but we're going to talk about Steppenwolf as a character. And I feel Steppenwolf would probably. We don't talk about Steppenwolf, right? But
No.
let's start from the
That
bottom.
that was the best change.
Let's talk about all the watery characters in the Little Mermaid and I guess not Prince Eric, whatever Aquaman's name is, Adam Curry.
Arthur.
What do I call him? Adam?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. Okay. I totally. So Arthur Curry is, yeah, they did add a lot. They added more stuff to it and they changed his scenes. But I couldn't help when I was watching it to make the joke. Like every single time that Jason Momoa shows up, everybody gets wet. And I can't help but feel like it was some sort of sick double entendre, like a visual double entendre. Because like every time he shows up, it's like water splashes everywhere. It's like, and it's like, this is what's happening in theaters right now. This is what they expected. All right. And it's like he would take his shirt off for no reason. Right.
He's a stripper. He's like, ladies, are you ready to get wet?
Right. And it's like he went into the ocean with clothes on, saved the man, took him into town, threw him on top of the bar, and then says, "Be back." Then takes his wet shirt off to jump in the ocean. Why? That doesn't make any sense. And it's like Jason Momoa is clearly, they gave him 30 minutes more of him just so he can be like, this one is for the ladies. Like what the devil?
No, you are right. He has the least amount of character development out of all the heroes. I feel like, because it's mirrored the original one. If I remember the original one correctly.
Well, they took out the part where the lasso of truth makes him reveal his softer side. They took that out. But beyond that, it's like, what was the women singing the Viking tune? And like this guy is swimming all over the world. There are a bunch of little aqua lads
sniffing his shirt.
Right, because he's around the world juicing all type of woman, clearly. Right? Every port, everywhere that water touches, like in The Lion King, everywhere the sun touches is your kingdom. Everywhere the ocean crashes, there's a aqua lad inside that town somewhere. And it's like, I would like to know what was he doing in all these different random places where the people are impoverished, they can't feed themselves, and in exchange for you sleeping with our wives, we let you do whatever, bring us fish. Like that's clearly what's happening with the whole thing. Because remember, they're like, maybe there's a king tide in Jamaica or a king tide. So king tide doesn't come to America? Interesting. It only goes to developing countries? Huh. What's the chance of that? Cool. Sorry, Patrick, you got to say something.
Was I?
You seem offended.
No, I was gonna say I agree. If that's the case, he should just get fully naked. Like he should take off his pants too. I don't see the point of just taking off his shirt. If the point is to
make it easy to swim,
right? Disrobe to get into the water. I mean, I know it's PG, right? Whatever. But
no, this was an R-rated movie, so he could have full frontal.
Yeah, R-rated to drop 3 F-bombs? Come on. Yeah.
That's not why it was R-rated.
No, I mean there was a lot of blood too, but it's still not. Whatever. The blood. It was almost like it felt like they were trying too hard to for the R rating. Like I feel like it wasn't naturally R rated. Like they wanted the R rating, so it was like, hey, let's put in a CGI blood. And I was like, yeah, I guess it makes sense if these people are being slashed and cut and bruised about the body, that blood should splatter places. But I'm like, it didn't enhance the film for me. I'm like, whatever. If you're gonna go, if it's R, right? Because was it was Batman versus Superman where Batman just freaked out on this room full of guys, right?
Yeah.
Like, right. Yeah. So if you're gonna go R, like have Batman press a barrel up against someone's chin and blow their brains out. Like that's what you should do. Don't just like do this, like slash you with a sword, blood splatter on the floor. Oh
Well,
my god! Like, do it. We're in 2021, right? We've seen these things before. They're no longer impressive, right? So it's like I'm saying, if you're gonna do the R rating, let Jason Momoa. He's done it before in Game of Thrones, my guy. He's not shy.
right.
Let him get butt naked and jump in the water. Right? We don't have to see him from the front,
I
but
like how your argument is for. It's like we're still arguing for Jason to be naked.
no, but I mean, I was just saying. The point is, I agree with you guys. That was stupid because, like, why you take it off his shirt? But if you're going for the sexy thing, right? Like I said, he's done it in Game of Thrones. We've seen his butt, right? So you got the R rating. Let him do it. Like, let him just take it all off and jump in the water. Why not? Other than that, it is dumb. Like, what you take it off your shirt for, bro? Like, you had it all along. Like, what the heck? Like, he didn't even did he take off his shoes? I think he still had on. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Because
Like, you have on pants and shoes, right?
you can't take
Like,
it off.
what? And like, isn't he Aquaman? I'm sure this dude broke a glass bottle on the harbor. Like, people they're gonna get caught. Like, what are you doing?
What about the fish?
Like, that is
Why are you
not
throwing? Why are
responsible.
you littering?
As the Aquaman, you
Right.
shouldn't be breaking bottles
Exactly.
into the ocean. Like,
No.
what is wrong
He
with
doesn't
you?
like these people. He doesn't
What-
like these people, by the way.
It doesn't matter. He likes the fish,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
No.
What I
This
did
story,
like
I think he's like,
he does because he just eats them. So I don't know if I should bring it up here, but I guess I will do it. The fact there's the concept of the Snyderverse is I think that what they were going for was more of a tone, right? In terms of the type of violence or whatever. Because even the tone of the film, like the Snyderverse, the sky is never blue. Like blue exists, but blue only exists along with gray. So it's like everything is heavily desaturated. There is no blue skies, and if you watch it, there's no blue skies in any of the scenes, no matter if it was a good day or a bad day. Because in the Snyderverse, the world is a dark, grim place to live. And then the thing about it is, like, all through it, I kept saying to myself, what sound does the human make? Squish. Because literally, a difference in a lot of the scenes was that when he extended a scene, he's going to extend it and show the violent death of like 10 extra people. Right? And it's just like they're watching this movie post the boys and post all these like superhero movies that are interrogating the idea of the superhero, right? So it's like this originally comes out in 2017, where the only thing that we really had before this was Watchmen. But since then we've had the Watchmen TV show, and then we've had The Boys on Amazon, where we interrogate what is the idea of a superhero, and we see somebody with this much power is kind of weird because it's like they wouldn't this whole no kill and they're nice and they kiss babies and they walk dogs across the street is kind of weird. No, they're godlike creatures, right? And they will treat you with the anger of a god when you try to run upon them. And so it's like I like what the Little Mermaid did, whereas like she does the whole thing where she removes water out of Steppenwolf, right? And it's like, oh, this is the cool effect. And then I realized that it was Amber Heard, and so a couple months from now, we realized that Steppenwolf is probably right, and Amber was abusing him, and justice for Steppenwolf. But in the Snyderverse, there's a lot of violence, and everything is gray and dark and miserable and wet, and it's like it's never look like it's about to rain. I you can't. It's a depressing place to live, right? And this is the last thought I had.
It's very moody.
Right.
I thought we were talking about characters, but anyway.
No. I mean, because what I feel, one of you guys brought it up just now, and it's like, well, why would it be like this if it's R-rated? But it must be horrible to be a janitor inside the Snyderverse, because every day you go to work and it's a new puddle of blood, and it's like, oh, I guess that's Fred. He was mop up this blood. It's like, you know what it is to Google how to get blood off of walls or how to get blood on the carpet because you've done it so many times. Like the psychological impact on being a janitor in the Snyderverse, those dudes, I hope they're highly paid. Let's move on
Or
to
maybe
another
that's
character.
just
Gotham
City in general.
Oh yeah, so the other character moving up the line is Flash. All right, I like Flash more in this, and I don't know if that's. I like Flash, but holistically looking at all the characters, it makes me question them and their motives. But I'll come back to that when we talk about Superman. But I like Flash inside this more. And even though it's almost the exact same thing, but the fact that Flash actually does stuff as opposed to he saves a random family that lives in a radioactive zone that is like that we don't know their names, and what happened to them afterwards, I don't remember. And then Flash is this weakling or whatever. But like inside this one, Flash is like, okay, I can travel through time, but it's not good when I do it. And it's like the stakes are so high. Like when he fails, it's like the world could end. So I feel it's a good setup for like a Flashpoint Crisis on Infinite Earth sort of situation. Whereas like we've seen he was too late to stop Steppenwolf and the mother boxes from merging. Everybody died, but he's just able to outrun time and run backwards in time and make it not happen. So it's like it made the character seem like it wasn't just a random throwaway character that was just there for comic relief. Like he was actually important.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean,
personally, I like. Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, I was just gonna say that you pretty much summed it up. Like, there's nothing more really for me to add. Ironically, despite the fact that I'm still talking, but that's exactly it. Like, I feel like his character in the original, he didn't have a purpose. He was just there because he's the Flash and he's a part of Justice League, and so we need to have him in the movie. That's how I felt that with the first film. But with this film, he has a purpose. Like, even if it was only because of that, what happened at the end, that scene at the end, good enough reason for someone with his move set in the film, because only him could have achieved that. Like no other character could have done that. And so literally he served a purpose that is somewhat irreplaceable. Like no one other than Flash could have done what he did in the film. And so I feel like, that was and he's one of the characters that made the movie worthwhile for me. Like I feel like even getting more scenes with him, like he seemed pointlessly goofy in the first film, but in this film it seemed I liked him a bit more because it wasn't just like, oh, look at me, I'm funny, I'm goofy, I'm the comic relief. It was more like it just came off as his personality. You got the feeling that he's one of these hyperactive, millennials or whatever. Like it worked because like he's obviously he's younger than everybody else. Well, not everybody else, but I guess only Cyborg is kind of. But Cyborg was a bit more mature. He's a darker, more serious character, as opposed to Flash, who is like he's literally a young dude. Like he's and he has these powers and it encapsulates what he was. So it didn't come off as annoying and just, oh, I'm just here to make the jokes and to make this movie more like the Avengers, right? It was like,
Josh.
nah, he actually his personality even sort of worked with the progression of the storyline as well, in some instances, so it wasn't just played for laughs. So yeah, but yeah, like you said, exactly what you said, like they gave him something to do, like he had a purpose in this film, and that was,
Final?
yeah.
Oh, okay. To touch on like what Patrick said, and because he made a good point. Um, Original version, I felt that DC was trying to catch up with Marvel. That's why they didn't, try to focus on these characters too much. I felt like they were like, hey, we building our DC, we'll learn more about these characters in their individual movies.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of trying to make this movie where it encompasses all their affairs and what makes them them, they were like, oh yeah, this guy's Flash, that guy's a cyborg, that guy's Batman. You know what I mean? He's rich. you know? Yeah, and that was what was wrong with the original one. Why nobody probably liked it at all. It was like, yeah, like you said, Flash was incredibly goofy. He was so goofy and such a kid that they might as well call him Wally West, which is Kid Flash, who turns Flash. But like
Right.
Wally West is known to be that goofy character. Barry Allen is known to be a more serious character, if you follow the comics, a more adult, more mature character. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was wrong with it in terms of him saving the day and what he actually played a role in. He actually was a lot stronger. I feel like because they didn't show that self-healing thing that he did in the original one.
No.
He got injured and
Yeah.
that was not meant. So he actually had the power to quickly heal him.
Which is
And
honestly adds to it a lot.
It adds to what the characters really are as a whole in terms of comic books and what they actually bring to the team of Justice League. And even though it took 4 hours, which is crazy, all those scenes that they put out really just shows that you were missing a big chunk.
My last issue with I gotta call him Wally West just now because you said Wally West, but my last issue with, am I invisible? Jesus Christ, this is why you don't wear a black shirt with a black background. Anyway, my last issue,
a floating head.
Right, is like I have a beard and it's not helpful. Anyway, my last issue with the Flash is like Flash goes around and he has all this very sensitive computer equipment, and it is on a giant raw electrical box. Does physics work differently in this universe? Because it's like
all the fuse boxes apparently
spark.
you flip the switch.
Right, and that's not supposed to happen. And so it's
why
like
is that connected to old timey fuse box?
Right, it's not grounded. It's not even grounded, Vano. So it's like you have this very sensitive equipment, and it's just like, push, and like, how is none of this stuff? How is all this stuff working? That's my question. The Snyderverse has very minute differences, but it's like when you stop and think about it, you're like, electricity doesn't work the same way in your universe, does it? Like that's why everybody's different. Because electrons are different. That's my thought. You have to think about it.
Another thing I wanted to add to, which is scene that we're talking about Flash, because it's a scene that involves him. I think that there's a lot of subtle differences in the way they handle the character as well. Because like I said, he came off more like his personality even came off more purposeful, and for him, being the way he was, like being the sort of jokester, the person that doesn't take anything seriously, and it kind of worked in the interactions between him and Batman, because remember they tried the whole making Batman like a quipster as well, right? When he asked Arthur Curry, "Oh, I heard you, Dr. Fish," like they took that out. Well, I'm saying Snyder took that out, right?
Right.
And then when he Flash asked him, they kept the scene, but there was a very subtle difference in the tone, right? The scene where he's like, "Hey, what's your superpower?"
I'm rich.
Like the way Flash asked it was different from the original. He didn't ask it like it was a joke. He asked it like he
He
literally
didn't
didn't
know.
know. Like
Right.
he probably believed that Bruce was superhuman, and he
Dramatic.
was
He was a
genuinely
bad.
interested in knowing what is super. And then Bruce Wayne didn't answer it like I'm being a smartass about it. He answered it more so like he's like this old guy who's out of he was like, "Oh, I'm rich," and it didn't come off as a joke. It was
No,
like he
it's
was
not
like,
a joke.
"Oh,"
It's very
he's
serious.
like, "Oh, I'm rich."
That's why Batman is at the top of
And
our
so
list because he's the most
it was
important one.
right. It was funnier because like no, he wasn't trying to be like I'm rich. It wasn't the delivery was different, and it was like, bro,
But
and it's you could see the disconnect. It was almost like he was a boomer. It was like, hey, this is the Gen Z with this old boomer, and he's like, oh yes, I'm rich. Didn't you know rich is a superpower, kid? Didn't your
right,
grandparents teach you anything?
right. I mean,
I was,
it'd
I
also
was,
be
I was
funny if he was like,
surprised.
"What's your superpower?" I eat gluten. Like, okay, I guess.
I am a vegan.
Right.
I'm a vegan.
I'm
Yeah.
vegan.
So
Congratulations.
I kind of like that because like it's a very subtle shift in the delivery and how they decided to frame the scene. But I was like it worked better that way rather than Batman it was no longer like a matter of fact thing. Like yeah, I'm rich. It was like he's so time in a dark cave, barely interacted with other human beings. Like this is how I would talk to people normally.
Yes. I also remember that they took out the brunch line. So
Yeah.
there's no talk. They made Barry seem less of a weirdo. Like he seemed quirky or like a little, okay, you're on the spectrum somewhere, but he wasn't like a straight up like, why about brunch? Like they took that out.
Was
Yeah.
the scene with his father in the original? I'm trying to remember. I think it was.
One of them were. I don't think both were in.
Hmm.
Like they didn't give him. I don't think they gave him a happy ending, or maybe they did, and I just don't
Hmm.
remember it. I really didn't like the first one, but anyway, on to Wonder Woman. Let's talk about Wonder Woman and how European imperialism strives to keep its foot on the throats and the necks of people around the world. Thoughts about Wonder Woman? Anybody?
Because I started to mention it first in terms of at least the whole DCEU universe, how they were like not developing the characters that much,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden they wanted to put everything in those individual movies. And while the first Wonder Woman was pretty good, 1984 was terrible, like really really bad. I
I
don't
just
know
want
if
to
you
put a
guys have seen
flag on the
it.
play. The first Wonder Woman was not good. It was
Well,
not a
anyway,
good movie.
that's,
I mean,
It
that's the
was
difference of
it was called
but
1984.
yeah,
is it 1984? Yeah, yeah,
Wonder Woman
1984 was
1984.
like, yeah,
Wow,
it was
that's
pretty bad.
interesting.
Like,
It's because she's a rebel from the waist down.
and it's like the campiness of that movie did not it did not go over well.
Wait,
Like
was
I said,
Steven
the
saying
man
the
in it,
first Wonder Woman was horrible?
Yeah, it wasn't okay.
Steven
Let me
said
not
that.
say horrible. The first Wonder Woman to me was like the Shazam movie, which is if we've decided that this is just for kids, then cool. However, the DC universe itself is too dark for that to work. Like as an individual one-off cartoon series, you could have Shazam being Shazam for kids, but
Yeah,
Shazam
but
as a comic isn't for kids. Sorry, the
I
one
think
we know
Wonder
now.
Woman worked because it's technically not set in the DCEU, right? It
Right.
predates that, so she could be whatever she wants, right?
Okay.
That's how I felt about it, because like it's her movie, right? So
no, I
the same
meant
thing,
Wonder
like,
Woman as a character. When we start bringing her into, it just didn't feel
I
fleshed
thought
out.
she blended well with Batman and Superman.
No, when she's in the movie Batman versus Superman, when she's in these other movies, that's fine. I mean, the Wonder Woman movie itself, the writing of it didn't feel like a fleshed out, fully formed. It felt like somebody heard about feminism and it's like, oh, that would be a cool thing to write about, but they didn't even go to Wikipedia to read what feminism. And I am a girl, and girls are important. Right, exactly.
No,
Father, you didn't do it. No, we
that's
practiced this.
no, because that's what 1984 is.
Right.
1984 is.
And
Oh, they
I
took it
agree
up
with Arnold.
another level.
I think 1984 is more so. The first Wonder Woman.
Now
was-
I'm drooling.
It was okay. Like I don't think it
I thought
it was what it was.
a good movie.
Yeah, but I liked it.
Sorry. I apologize for interrupting, Vanna. You were saying Wonder Woman. Go ahead.
I thought she was an outstanding character in this movie. She was strong, she was independent. The only scene I didn't really like is when she was going to fight Steppenwolf inside the sewers. And he's like, this one is mine. And then she throws out this very TV line. It's like, what are you talking about, woman?
But you know what? That's the most believable line ever. I've never had a conversation. You know what it is? It could be because I maybe I need to stop dating women from Freeport, but that line resonated with me on a level where it's like, no one meant that like that. Like, it's like, you be like, this is my girlfriend. I belong to no man. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not.
Even then, that's better than saying, okay, I'm going to fight this one. She belongs to me. I belong to no man. No, no.
Like, right. I don't want you. Like,
I'm going to
murder you. Right. It made sense. And I was like, I get it. I understand her character. She's from South Bohemia. It makes sense. I know this woman. I've met her before. You know? She was hella violent.
Yes, first scene was, I believe, more violent than the original. Was it? I'm not sure, but it's like
the first scene.
Yeah, when she fights the terrorists.
The robbers. Yeah, the terrorists.
It was. The terrorists killed more people, and they cut out all the stuff. Getting.
Those dudes are dead.
Right. Everybody's dead except
those people.
The people being splattered, the man who she literally evaporated with her sonic boom. Right? That none of that inside the 2017 version.
Right. But I will say that despite it being more violent, I enjoyed the other version more because it came. I don't know. Like I just remember it looking cooler. Like this one just looked weird to me. And like I remember watching it.
Right.
And didn't she do a thing where she slid it on the floor or something like that? And
right.
Like I just remember more fighting because I enjoyed that. Yeah. Like this one, she was just murdering the dudes.
Like, yeah, she was so overpowered. Like she literally was flinging guys back and forth, and it was so violent and so fast that it didn't look like it made sense but you realize one woman is super strong.
Right, she's as strong as Superman.
Right. And so in the first one, she was kind of using restraint, which made it more whimsical looking. Like she was actually it was like watching a Jackie Chan movie, right?
I don't want to hurt you.
That's why I liked the first one. And then this one, I was looking to see that. And then like when I saw the scene, I'm like, wait, there's something different about this. And it was weird because I was like, I don't see a choreography. I just see
it is difficult for
people slaughtering others, like people getting slaughtered.
It's difficult to watch this and not feel the urge to interrogate it and be like, what is actually being said?
Because I feel like she wouldn't do that as well. Like if that was Batman in there, sure, go to town.
Right.
But I also would have killed those people.
Like any Wonder Woman would kill those people.
If she could have avoided it, you know what I mean? Like if they pushed her to it, like if at the point like that dude who's trying to blow himself up or whatever, like she may have just pushed him out of the door or something, or out of the window. I mean, at that point, you dead, bro. Like you just ain't blowing yourself up in this room with these people.
Well, that's the thing.
I mean?
In the original, in the 2017 version, when she does the sonic boom, it just cuts to white, and that's the end of that scene. So
and then didn't it? That might have been the end of it, but I felt like maybe I'm mixing. At some point, she tied up somebody, and
that was 1984 probably.
Yeah,
she didn't leave nobody here. That gentleman's hat floated down.
No, I mean in the original, I feel like the aftermath was
maybe
the guy going to jail or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't remember. Yeah,
that's possible. Yeah. But Wonder Woman stuff is like I like her better in this, if only because the dialogue makes more sense, and it's like her interactions with Batman make more sense. The fact when she talks to Cyborg, it makes more sense. Like everything makes more sense, and it doesn't feel like it's just like jammed into it. But it's just like she is in the Snyderverse, she makes sense, but in our reality, she's just a very more violent character. She's much more violent than I'm comfortable with, but it makes sense. And in that way, I guess.
You know what she is in the Snyderverse? She is
Hippothalamus.
She's Gohan. She's like fight Cell or whatever random fight Boo until we revive Goku.
Oh,
that's the character. She's the I'm almost as powerful as Superman, but I'm not. So I'm gonna beat Steppenwolf until he arrives.
Right.
And then Batman is like TN or something.
Yeah, Batman is whoever died very long time ago, and they refused to resurrect him.
He's like Yamcha. Like, was it when the fight over? Like, wasn't he hanging on a ledge or something? They were like, "Hey, sorry guys, watching here."
I mean, honestly, Batman is the talking pig, but
like Superman just freaking off like this dude like the whole time. He was just like hanging on the edges, like dude, like it's literally Flash reverse time. And this boy, we didn't even know if he was dead. Like he was just somewhere. And he was like, "Bro, I've been hanging on this thing for like 45 minutes now."
Like time didn't affect him. He was always there.
Okay, are we going to talk about the epilogue?
Yes. So let's go. We talked about Wonder Woman.
Staring contest with Darkseid. Without Batman, bro.
Let's because what are you gonna stay at for him today anyway? So let's talk about Superman. All right, and Superman is where, or should we talk about Cyborg first before we talk about Superman?
Whatever.
Superman is shorter.
Yeah, Superman is short. Like Cyborg. There's a lot to say about Cyborg. Like Cyborg literally wasn't even in the first film. Like and that speaks volumes. Like his character was non-existent.
He's a third of the movie.
He was just there, but he was just taking up space. But he actually had he was actually in this film. Like that's the only way I could describe it. Like
he is the
was
film.
Not right, and everything tied in. It made sense. The fact that the mother box is part of the technology that made him even more purposeful to the film. Like, his father's involvement that tied him in. Like, and it even coming down to the last moment, like he was the one again. He even though I literally forgot he
was in the first film because it's like there's no water.
I thought he was in the second film. Like Snyder didn't. I mean, I wouldn't say Snyder didn't do him justice, but I'm saying like he literally didn't serve. He didn't serve a purpose either. But he was there. He's cool to watch.
Right.
But he didn't really. He wasn't needed. Like, what did he do? To be honest, like
he was trying.
People had the other box.
Right. It's people had the other box. Yeah.
You know what he did?
I guess,
Splash. It's like that's what he did. He had that splash.
Superheroes.
And to be honest too, he was if Wonder Woman is Gohan, he's Goten. He's Goten. He's another Saiyan. He's up there. He could punch it out with Superman, or at least take a punch from the Kryptonian. He could do it. So I guess he's the muscle. He's like the other. He's the third god of the movie.
Oh, you mean Cyborg?
No, Aquaman.
See, and that's the joke. So wait, we're talking about Cyborg right now, right?
Right.
So my thing with Cyborg is Cyborg is a young god, right? And I think it adds to the whole tone and of the story that was trying to be told, because the whole thing is,
I mean, technically all of them are except Batman.
Well, Batman is Batman is a king god sort of thing.
Because Flash reversing time, but he is flicking.
No, right. All of them have godlike powers, but that's the thing. So it's like it's gods and monsters, right? And so it's like Steppenwolf and Darkseid are the monsters. Ironically, they are the new gods, right? Inside the DC universe, like that's their title, the new gods. But Batman, the Justice League are the gods of Earth, essentially, right? And so it's like you have this idea, and you kind of see it in the tone and the way he does the whole, not necessarily like a Renaissance painting, but he does a lot of the whole thing. Everything looks like, I was telling Vano, everything looks like Kanye West's music video Power, right? Because like that's the look that he was going for, right? Where it's like the whole slow motion, and look at Apollo dragging the sun across the sky, or look at this person falling from the sky. Like everything's supposed to be like, these are not human beings, even if they look like humans. These are gods, essentially, right? And with Cyborg, it feels very much like, well, if you were a god that was developed during this present day and age, what would make you omnipresent? If you could control the internet, if you could control all technology, you could be everywhere, you could control wealth, which is something that people pray to gods for. And it's like, you can make somebody wealthy. He could hear the prayers of everybody, because even when they're not praying, because he could see this woman deeds and being unrewarded. He can talk to anybody, he can control anything. He is, for all intent and purposes, a god of some sort. Now, with that said, the young god was trying to get that woman, that Asian woman, Rob, in the middle of Gotham. When you say, congratulations, you win $100,000. Say, congratulations, you win $100,000. You don't tell people for the first time they were in Gotham. You asking for that woman to get narco. Gotham has the highest proliferation of criminals. They will kill you just because they're like, I want to see you smile. Ha ha ha. So it's like, you can't be.
But you know what else Gotham has?
Chlamydia? Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. Well, that as well. I mean, anything is possible. But yeah.
Go ahead. Cyborg. One big difference to me that I noticed. Remember, there was a scene inside the original where it was like, you should make yourself more appealing, and he changed like his suit to be more human-like. I guess you could compare that to him, how he was black. It's like when they tell black people you should be more appealing.
Right. They took that out.
They do that in this movie.
No,
they took that out. Yeah, I thought that was like, okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, he is different. He is a machine.
All right, and it's okay to be different. And you know, once again, it's one of those things where it's like every time we have a conversation about robots, it is important to I think it is helpful to remember that robots start off right. The word means slave, and it's like it starts off, the first use of robot inside modern language is a story about slavery and a slave revolt, right? Where like these robots who are forced to work on a plantation are like, well, we're people just like you, and the humans are like, no, you look like us, but you ain't really us. You guys are robots, and it doesn't count. All right. And so it's like every time I see a mechanical man, it is difficult for me to not look at race with that. And the fact that you have the black guy, and there's a lot of black cyborg characters, All right, because it's him and Jax. That's two, and that's enough for my list. But all right,
Jax wasn't a cyborg. Jax.
that makes him a cyborg. A cyborg is anybody who has robot attachments, like any sort of attachment that's biological. You can look it up. I see you go into your Google and decide window. That's fine. What I want to say about Cyborg is Cyborg has definitively proven to us the most important thing that you should never ever do in Gotham City, and that is play football. No good has ever come about playing football in Gotham City. Something bad always happens. People die. Football kills. All right. And it's like, you want to know why Gotham, nobody cares about the Gotham City, anything, whatever they're called, the Gotham City Mites, whatever their team is called, because every time they play, people die. It's a horrible sport. It needs to be outlawed. Football has killed more people than the Joker inside Gotham City. And that's saying something. That's all I gotta say. Did you find it? Did you find Cyborg yet?
Technically died in a car accident not playing football.
No, it was from his football game. It's still related to the football situation.
I know people died from a bomb.
It's like everybody died from football. You sound like a football lover. That's what you sound like.
They didn't die from the bomb. The bomb caused the stadium to collapse.
They died from
And
the
they died
football.
from that.
Gravity.
They died from gravity. Except,
They died from attending the game that they love. That's why you never care for things that you love.
It's like, because they'll just kill you.
Abandon your children. Divorce your wife.
Right. So now we can talk about Superman. All right.
The greatest hero to ever live.
You don't even like Superman. And
Die
like,
and live again.
I hated Superman inside Man of Steel because it was like it felt ham-fisted and heavy-handed, and it was like it doesn't make sense. But now, having watched The Boys and having watched Watchmen, and if I view it as not necessarily a parody, but an interrogation of actual superpowers and like what are these stand-ins for, I'm okay with it. Because Superman has always been a metaphor, but his metaphor was for an ideal that doesn't exist. So like, let's make it realistic and let him be exactly like the thing that he represents, the red, white, and blue. And let's see how that plays out. This is the most violent, like when he kills Zod, I was like, what the hell was that? Right? But when he killed Steppenwolf didn't deserve that.
And the woman killed Steppenwolf.
No, he was dead.
He was still alive.
He was wishing he was dead.
Toward the bottom, and one woman cut off this dude's head.
And here's the thing. You know why he wasn't dead? Because that would make it worse. If this dude is dead, Wonder Woman is decapitating
a dead
man, already deceased,
as they throw him through a hole at his cousin's feet.
He on top of grave, bro.
Hey, and then they just stand there. So like they stand there looking at Darkseid like, yeah, nigga.
All right.
What you say?
Here's the thing, right?
You killed my back in '94.
Flash and Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman is just like, bro.
That's not necessary.
What's happening right now? Like, we in with them. We don't know them doing. Like, when y'all come back here?
It's like, that wasn't us. Like, I miss you? What? Me?
Like we had nothing to do with that, bro. That was all Superman.
Bro, that's some gang. But Superman broke Steppenwolf's horn. And I'm not entirely certain if that was a horn or a part of his head. Like, you know, like how like sheep have horns and it could break and they're fine. That might be a part of that nigga brain, right? And Superman is just smiling like, it's just another day in the neighborhood.
You remember that line from Deadpool?
What?
Let me show you the reason why Superman come back with the black suit, because this nigga was dressing up for the funeral. He was like, bro, someone can die tonight.
It's like,
right? It wasn't. That was the only reason.
niggas was playing Lil Wayne in their headphones, dog.
He passed the red, blue, right? The red, blue, and yellow. He's like, bro,
Nah, bro.
I gotta dress for the occasion.
I can't put on my Sunday clothes. Right? Nigga put on the black Timbs, and he coming there to fight, bro. It's like I didn't even know you. No, that's the thing. This ain't even black Air Force. This nigga got black Timbs, and you like, you have black Timbs? Like, what type of violence you about to like dole out of these niggas stuff? That's a whole nother level, dog.
Stopping niggas out.
Well,
you know, they were setting up for the future. Are you gonna talk about that? Like,
no, wait. We got. We'll do that with the epilogue because we didn't reach that. I'm glad you said that, but
that's also in the thing up though.
Yeah, but I mean, like, but my thing is like watching Superman in this. So the difference between this and the 2017 one was in the 2017 Superman comes back and he's disoriented and that's why he's fighting everybody. And then Lois is like, "Hey, remember these titties?" And he's like, "Oh, Martha," some weird-ish, right? So all that happens, right? And so it, in a way, it's still holding up this whole weird illusion that it's like Superman is a good guy. And it's like, no, Superman is a powerful guy. And when you're powerful, you are the measure. And so it's not a matter of whether or not Superman is good. Superman is Superman. Whatever he does, we hope it is good because we don't have a choice in the matter. And the more, like, watching this play out, I can understand why Batman wanted to kill him. Watching this play out, I can understand why Lex Luthor was like, "Hey, yeah, I crazy, but at least y'all can lock me up." You can't do that with this nigga. When that nigga was arrested the first time, incidentally, by another alien, right? It was by choice. He chose to go in the U.S. Army and talk to them. It wasn't like they captured him and stopped him. They couldn't stop him if they wanted to. He was humoring them. And so it's like, all it takes is one day he decide, "Oh, y'all dumb. Y'all don't know what y'all doing." Because, and like, I feel like what this movie has done successfully is erase all of Superman's humanity. And I don't know if it's because he died and part of that died with him, and like he wants to be human, or this is who he always was. Whereas like, I want to be human, but I'm so far above you guys. It's inevitable. Like, I cry if your pet dies, you cry. But you know that your dog and your cat was going to die before you. And that you are a human being and they are dogs and cats. And that's how I feel Superman looks at humanity for the most part. Right? He doesn't have a problem killing, clearly. And it's just like, people die. That's just that's what happens. When
he got over the killing of people when he killed God. Like,
right.
He was like, "Okay, that's the first one. I cried out in pain after that one."
It's fun because he was smart. He gave like a weird smile when he killed Stephen. Well, when he beat Steppenwolf to a pulp, all right, and then supposedly Wonder Woman killed him. They both.
But I'm gonna play devil's advocate and say,
go ahead.
I don't think he viewed Zod or Steppenwolf as people.
But that itself is kind of telling, and then also, in a way,
because I mean, if we are more living beings in the universe than human beings, right?
Right.
But in the context of the real world, say Superman only views human beings as people, right?
Which at this point he does.
Then he should have no problem murdering anyone that isn't a human being that happens to threaten human life.
Right.
Now, would he murder Lex Luthor?
No. But the thing is, murdering
because
Lex
he's
Luthor.
technically a human being.
No, but him
He
not
could- he
murdering
would-
Lex
he would-
Luthor
he would
isn't
stop
because
him.
he respects humans. Him not murdering Lex Luthor is because Lex Luthor is powerful enough because of money and fame to exist. Superman has killed many people by mistake.
Right, by mistake.
Right,
But
because
that's
they
only because
aren't.
he's stupid.
No, but
Not
that also
because-
means that they're not
right?
people because he doesn't know them. Like he's so
Right, but
powerful
I'm
that they're
saying, like,
casualties of war.
Again, but what I'm saying is on purpose. Like he wouldn't intentionally do it. I'm saying like, okay, because it's the same issue with the Batman and Superman thing, right?
Right.
Batman versus Superman. Like them crashing into the building and all those people dying, right? We're addressing the whole idea of collateral damage and these things, right? And you could say he wasn't mindful of those people. But even a silly anime like Dragon Ball Z addresses those things from time to time. Because
I can see them.
They don't
They
have
made it.
to, but Goku will be like, hey, let's go fight in the desert.
Or they'll say, don't worry, I see the parachute. Those men made it out of the helicopter alive.
Because people realize that there's an issue. I don't think Goku necessarily cares, but at the end of the day, it's like, yes, if I do engage you in battle in the city, people will die, whether I want them to or not. It's not that I don't regard them as people, but it would be out of my control at that point. And so Superman, it was out of his control. Zod was in the city. He could have attempted to do something else, but Zod, it wouldn't have been enough time for him to kind of navigate the fight away from Metropolis or wherever it was, or Gotham or whatnot, wherever, right? So to me, like, that was out of his control. Yes, it happened because of him, but it happened despite of him, like, if that makes sense. Like, I think if he had the choice, he wouldn't have allowed it to happen.
Right. No, I mean, my whole thing is like, I think in this we just see like Vano is alluding to, we see a glimmer of the future and where it's going. All right, in terms of the Superman to the stupid man, the Superman storyline, in terms of him becoming this other person, and like removing him far away from the Boy Scout image that a lot of people abhorred for years, and they're like, "Oh, Superman's so corny, man." Now, I do feel like
I don't understand why you didn't like Man of Steel.
I hate Man of Steel because I don't feel like it did it as a. It didn't feel effective.
I think you should watch it after this movie.
No, I'm saying I hated it when I watched it because I wasn't prepared for what it was. But now, because enough time has passed, I am 2 girlfriends removed from Man of Steel, right? You have to measure it in terms of dark
maturity.
Right.
You need somebody, you don't want your girlfriend's high.
Well, there is no hand to be held now, so it's too late. But the point is, right, that life has progressed in such a way that looking back at it, I can understand it for something else now, and I can appreciate it for something else, right? And so it's like, I think the problem is that there's a truth to it that I didn't wish to acknowledge and didn't wish to accept, right? And it made me uncomfortable because it was like, you're ruining the image that I have accepted as truth because it isn't really a true image, right? And we'll get to that at the end of the whole entire thing. Let's move on to Batman. Oh wait, Lois is pregnant. And now we can move on to Batman. Totally nothing happened, even though I'm wearing glasses now. No time has elapsed. As a matter of fact, I don't even know why I'm mentioning it. Whoa, this eye is swollen. Is it a whole different day?
It's not the year 2525.
Right. It's the exact same day. Oh, what's happening? It's like I got punched in the face in between there. Batman is the character that we want to talk about. Let's talk about Batman.
For a second time. That's what happened. We just watched the movie for a second time, and now it's like 4 days later.
Right. We had to go back because we didn't actually finish it.
4 days later. God dang.
when
Long time to finish that movie.
Batman and Diana's hands touch inside this movie, right? And they do like a weird sort of like a like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch you. I was like, I see them pushing it, but we all know the truth. Diana can end up juicing Superman.
I don't think that ever happened.
Oh, this one, not one lower around.
No, not the juicing part. I mean the touching of hands and the I didn't mean to touch you.
That happened. I didn't make that up. I have it in my notes. But
I don't think the voices happen. Like
yeah, they even had the do 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 do. It's playing in the background, and the eyes locked.
and stuff.
Right, and you know that she could tie up and make them tell her the truth and stuff. So Batman is just that type, and he have a lot of unprocessed trauma that needs to go there. Film. This is the most human Batman because even though Batman was inside Batman versus Superman, that Batman felt like he might kill Superman by mistake, right? Like not by mistake. He might actually kill Superman if he
was going to kill Superman.
Right, he was very close to killing Superman. Matter of fact, in a way, Doomsday saved Superman from Batman. Because I don't think that whole Martha thing was going to keep him off him long enough. He's like, eventually, as soon as Superman get up to walk off, he's going to check him in his back. But inside this one is like when Superman pops out, like there's a lot of this movie where we don't realize, oh wait, Batman's not in any of these scenes, and then they cut to him, and he's behind a tank hiding, or he's hanging off the edge of a cliff. And like he'll pretend like he's the coolest guy. He's like, yeah, I got the plane. I'm gonna drop you guys off.
Hanging edge.
Right. No, but then it's like later back to him, and it's like, oh, my bat crawler, it stalled out. Cyborg had to come save us. Oh, I dropped my grappling gun. I'm falling. And it's like in this movie, at one point I was like, why is everybody taking the stairs? Batman is the only person who is incapable of ascending this very quickly. Everybody else can fly, do super speed. And they like, are you guys humoring him? Because Wonder Woman, even though Wonder Woman technically can't fly in this film, she can move lightning fast. Why is she walking up the stairs at the same pace as Batman, who is
behind him,
right? Yeah. To make sure he don't fall. This middle-aged nigga with body armor on, struggling to get up the stairs. My knee. Oh, we're gonna make it. Cardio. And everybody else is like, should we come back? Why are we taking the stairs? Like that moment was like, wow, Batman really is a loser. Like that's how I felt. And the weird thing is, Batman in the first one, in the 2017 one, was the main character. Right? Inside this one, he feels like a narrator. So he's like, he facilitates the story, but he's not the story. Right? Like even with Batman versus Superman felt like a Batman movie. This doesn't feel like a Batman movie. This feels like a movie that Batman is in. And like we're in the Batcave, we do stuff. He's at the start of the movie, he's at the end of the movie, he's in the epilogue. He does all these different stuff. But now it's like, no, you're the narrator. You're the guy who funds it. But this isn't really about you. Right? And in a way, it makes it better. Because then it's like, this makes it realistic. Because at the end of the day, the reason Batman exists is because Clark Kent is not making any money writing stories about football in Gotham, right? He can't support himself or Lois on that. And now that she's pregnant, buy a farm? No, but you know who can do that? Bruce Wayne can do that, right? Diana is off cleaning statues. That's internship work. She's not getting paid for that, and she's a woman. Ah, I mean, she's making 30% less of nothing, right? And so
I don't know what Diana does, but she seems
she's
to
a
be pretty well.
no. That's the thing. She seems to be pretty wealthy because this rich billionaire on the other side of the planet has a crush on her, and that's why, right? Clearly, Aquaman is a bum, right? Because he
So yeah,
got
he's a bomb.
right. He's literally jump on the back of random pickup trucks and be like, "I'll just go where you're going." Unless you were going to Nevada or place, you could just swim there. Why are you on the back of this pickup truck to go to another fishing village? But anyway, all right. Nobody. Batman's purpose is to finance things, and I think that it made it all more realistic. They wasn't trying to convince us that Batman is equal to these people. Batman is helpful. His existence works, but
He's the reason they come together.
right.
That's what he is. That's the whole thing with him. Because literally, it was out of fear that he wanted to kill Superman. And then he realizes that, he's mistaken. These people are actually helpful. So let me get them together rather than trying to get them apart. That's why.
Well, in true Batman form, what it really is I want to kill Superman still. However, I realize that it's better to own a big gun when other people have big guns than to burn all the guns when somebody comes shooting at you. Right? And so I think he thinks Superman is useful. No, because it's like the universe is filled with bigger, badder people than he can handle by himself with his human self. He can get so it's like he wants to keep Superman in that regard. There's a part of it where I thought it was funny where Diana, when Alfred is explaining to Diana this new technology he's developing, right? And Diana realizes essentially all Batman is doing is trying to cosplay as Wonder Woman, but in black. Because like, oh, it's a bracelet that disperses energy so it could stop bullets. And she's like, would you like a rock?
Are you copying my voice? Who's copying my voice?
Exactly. Right. Essentially. Right. And it's like, would you like some rope with that? Maybe you could, paint it gold. It's like Batman is a loser. Batman is such a loser that he's copying Diana and then goes out to be like, hey, look what I can do. Bing. Bing. Like, yeah, but you're moving super slow. And your own only works once. It's like, and then like you have to tear it off. Go ahead, defend your lord.
My favorite is a part of it. No, now I'm jumping on the bad guy. Like I always think he looks like such a loser. When they go inside the sewer or the cave for the first time.
Yes, when he jumps out, they go.
He looks like he's about to hurt himself.
Yes, it's like, nigga, that's a 2-foot drop, and he's like, oh, my knee. I was like,
everybody casually walks out.
Right, but he is dying.
He is old, right? And
human.
To be fair, he did say that his superpower is buddy.
Right. So don't show up.
He could have stayed home,
which he should have.
But he's like the rich, wealthy guy that pays you to collect the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park, and then be like, I gotta come with you while you do it. And you look at him like, bro, please just stay home in your wheelchair.
No, it's like, I must. No, he's the guy with my hat and the cane, and he's like, no, I want to see the Velociraptor myself. And it's like, what are you rubbing on your body? It's sunscreen, barbecue, SPF. Like what?
And so, but that also let's not pretend that we didn't notice that Superman jacked Batman style. You see, so now
Oh, you mean by dressing in
Superman,
black?
right? You see, Superman want baby daddy now because he like he looking at Batman like, well, let's do it. Because notice, this is how pathetic Superman was in this movie.
But
This dude shot his heat vision at Batman, and somehow he's still alive. How?
right, because
How is that
Batman was
possible?
wearing the Wonder Woman bracelets.
Okay, so why didn't it go through Batman's arm? Because this is just a regular human arm, right?
Right.
I try to figure out. First of all,
I want you to
thought
know
Batman arm
there's
was big.
scars on
The
his
first
arm.
arm, where the thing broke off, right? I thought
Yeah.
that arm was just broken. I thought the next scene is to claim because like he can no longer use that arm.
Oh, you think those are real arms? Those are not real arms. Batman has no real arms left. It's
He's
like,
actually a cyborg.
right, he's a cyborg.
And so after that one broke, he used the next arm. And I'm like, how long does this dude think he can keep this up?
But so it's so many different things, right?
It's like, bro, Superman clearly isn't trying to kill you because if he was, I
You'd be
feel like
dead.
you would be dead.
Right. He can aim for more than your arm. It's like your whole body is there. Like he clearly is like, F you. Like he probably assessed the threat level of Batman and it's like, yeah. You know, go over there. Like when you clap at a dog and like, get matter.
He scanned him. He was like, multiple bone fractures, a murmuring heart, clogged lungs, weak blood circulation.
It's like half a liver.
A fractured cranium. It's like, who is this guy?
Superman taps his visor and is like, under 9,000.
He's like, I should just use ice breath.
No, that would definitely kill him. But my thing is like, there's a part in the movie where everybody else is like, it's clobbering time, and the only thing Batman could do is run around and give out orange slices. Like when Superman is freaking out and trying to fight everybody, Aquaman is doing stuff, Wonder Woman's doing stuff, Flash is doing stuff, Cyborg's doing stuff. Batman is handing out orange slices to all the people on the sidelines. Like, would you like an orange slice? Would you like an? He could barely pull the soldiers out of the tanks. That I was like, and after watching this, I'm beginning to wonder if in this universe, I don't think it's a secret that Bruce Wayne is Batman, right? Because too many people would have noticed what he was doing. I think it's just a situation where it's like, somebody say to you, oh, you know the Prime Minister sheet on this. Like, I don't know that, but it sounds like something that could happen. It's not like, so somebody's like, hey, you know Bruce Wayne is Batman? You're like, I could see that. Right, like that makes sense. Right, and they kind of look alike. You're right, but then and that's it, and you just let it go and you move on with your life because it's like, one, you live in Gotham, everybody crazy, so it's like it's not really a surprise. Number two, rich people do weird stuff like dress up like bats, and it's just like he has private planes that he's not flying, private helicopters that he's not flying to take him to all these random weird places. They're speaking very loudly about looking for magical people with magic powers. And it's like, his driver's just like, hey, whatever, dog, wherever you going. Right? And it's like, there's no way that you have a whole giant crawler coming up out of the sewers, coming out of your cave, and no one is like, hey, what's that thing coming from the old Wayne Manor? It looks like a giant black tarantula with a bat symbol on it. You think that's Batman? No, it's just a giant spider. Long story short is, I think that what? It's like of course. I think that everybody in that town has accepted that rich people could do whatever the hell they want to do. And so Batman is 100% correct when he's like, being rich is a superpower because it makes him invisible. It gives him immunity. It gives him invincibility. Having money allows him to do whatever the hell he wants to do. I buy off the whole police force because they have a light on top of their building. Once again, not grounded. Every time that you turn it on, sparks fly, and they're doing it in the rain. But whatever. That is happening all the time. The commissioner is doing it. And nobody thinks to say the guy who's doing the extrajudicial killings should be stopped. They're like, no, we need to call him to murder some more criminals. And like when the parademons first come to Gotham, there's no way that people didn't think it was Batman killing them because he's been doing it. Like when we meet him in Batman versus Superman, he's branding people and he's like, I'm pretending to be a giant bat, burning criminals, breaking niggas up neck. And so now, once again, a bat-like creature flying around killing people. Who else could it be? It's Batman. That was my.
Enough about that crazy guy. Let me get to the real hero.
Batman's great.
You mean John Jones? John Jones?
Yeah, John.
This is
sorry. The
for
real
the record,
of the
best Batman. He's the best film version of Batman. You know,
I like him.
Move over Bale. You know,
This
is the best Batman.
I would actually watch a
Henry Cavill is the best
Superman.
That's been represented in the film.
I think so too.
I can't really argue because the you know what, the 70s Superman was a little bit. So yeah. Who are you saying is the hero of the film, Fano?
Steppenwolf.
Oh, I thought we already talked about him. You want to talk about him more? Go ahead.
No, we talked about him dying. We didn't talk about him being changed.
That's the only thing that's important. Take it away. Take it away.
Listen, Steppenwolf. Oh, you got my notes right there on why Steppenwolf is much better now.
You have notes on Steppenwolf?
Yes.
I thought that was
No, it's notes. Steppenwolf is awesome.
Can't
really see it there. But at least in this one, like the whole changing him from. Do you remember how weird it was? Like in the first one, where it was like, I must do this for mother. Like how weird that cult foolishness was with him, where it's like, I got to do this for mother. Like, and in this one, he's doing it for Darkseid, where he's like this little alien warrior that lost his honor and is trying to regain it. You know, trying to impress his
conquering
master.
50,000 planets.
And 100,000 more he still has to go through. Like everything that they changed about him, I just loved it. You know what I mean? I don't
his
know,
design as well.
Everything was just way better. And he was a more convincing villain, a more menacing villain, more violent, more, more everything, more
relatable.
That's clearly the Batman. Yeah, more relatable, even though the original one was like, he looked more human. This one looked more alien, but he definitely was more relatable because he actually had a real goal and a real reason to try and go against the heroes. He's trying to regain his honor, like I said. He wasn't just trying to conquer the world for a mother or some weird abstract reason.
Yeah, in the 2017 version, it wasn't fleshed out. What the story wasn't fleshed out. The story was hacked apart. And it's like, clearly what Josh did was they hired him. They said, make this 4-hour thing that Snyder did into a 2-hour thing. And so he's like, well, if I take out Cyborg, that's at least 30% of it we could do without. Right? And then it's like, if we take out all this backstory with Steppenwolf, that's another 15 minutes. And so it's like he just was chopping away, and then he's like, whatever we have left, we could sew it together, and then we'll just throw in a Russian family to make people feel sad. And
also Darkseid. Oh yeah, the real body. No, let's not even put him in it. Let's try and hint at it so we can stretch out this DCEU universe more. You know what I mean?
Right, but the thing is, this was a better stretching out for it, whereas like you show him, and
Mm.
honestly, I remember watching it and being confused the first time watching 2017. So I was like, okay, I get that he is the big
Steppenwolf, yeah.
Steppenwolf is the bad guy, but he doesn't feel like
Because Steppenwolf is the one that invaded Earth. You realize they changed that, right?
in the first one.
I'm pretty sure Steppenwolf was the one that was fighting against the gods and original people.
That's possible.
And then in this one,
Yeah, I
there
don't
was a
remember
problem.
seeing Darkseid at
No,
all.
yeah,
in the-
because Darkseid
Yeah.
wasn't in it. Yeah, you're right. But I'm saying like all the stuff that they changed because like Steppenwolf, even though he had a bigger role as the only bad guy in the 2017 version, in this one he was a more convincing bad guy, and it's weird because it's like when you look at the arc, I think this was like a way shorter fight scene. When Superman came inside there, it wasn't a situation like, will Superman defeat Steppenwolf? It was like, oh no, Steppenwolf is dead. That's it. Right? It's like Superman walked in
I'm not impressed.
and Hadouken the steward, and that was it. Right? And it's like, oh, this is the match is over? Oh, it's over. Just call it. Right? And so, but the stakes for some reason felt higher, even though we have this overpowered Superman, overpowered Wonder Woman, overpowered everybody, right? But in the other one, where it's like everybody could die, it didn't feel like there were high stakes. It was like, what is the story felt disjointed, and now we understand because like a lot was missing that would have made us more invested. We were invested in Steppenwolf. We felt like Steppenwolf was serious about winning, and he had to win. He was like the sniveling coward who was trying to regain his position. And like, I agree with you. It worked in this regard. Oh, I thought you had, that was it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it definitely wasn't that, but I felt like that made the movie. It had to be. There was no conflict. I felt like in the original one,
right?
Like this one, the conflict, like you said, the stakes were higher. Like, what are these heroes joining up for? In the first one, this one is like, oh yeah, you definitely see the world about to end now. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a real threat.
And it was better without all that red. The red made it weird.
I don't even remember the red. And that whole mother, I must do this for mother thing was weird.
Which I understand. That was him trying to hold on to the cult aspect from the original from Snyder's version. But then he's like, always feels butchered. And so it's like, yeah. But anyway, overall, with all the stuff, I know that you wanted to talk about.
The worst part of this movie were the epilogues. I gotta say it.
The epilogues? There's only one. It just was 30 minutes long.
Yeah, it definitely was 4 different epilogues combined together. It's like 4 or 5. The one where Cyborg's dad is talking is the real epilogue. But the worst one is one with the worst one is one with Martian Manhunter. Like that fake Ben Affleck with the skinny arms. Did nobody not realize? You guys didn't think that was just a weird looking CGI Ben Affleck? Look at it again.
I think that might just be his arms. That's how he looks when he doesn't work out. What are you talking about? That's his arms. That's the man's arms. You're like Ben. He doesn't mean it. He's it's late. He's sleepy. He doesn't mean any of that, Ben. He's like, Ben Affleck's head is hideous. His face. Did you see his ugly CGI face? And Ben Affleck is home like, what did I do? Am I ugly? It's like, that's you, Mano.
Just your CGI face inside a movie. All right.
Listen, Martian Manhunter, and I will always fight for characters of color, like Martian Manhunter, because
he didn't need to be in the movie. He did not need to be in the movie.
Of course not. But you know what we were promised? Yeah. We were promised years ago that we would have 7. It was called, the original promotion was Unite the 7. You can't have 7-member Justice League with 6 members. It's the 7th member, right? So they had to introduce him because, and this is the only time, because they're gonna, if they don't make another one of these, they're basically gonna reset everything, do a multiverse situation, and we'll never see this version of these characters again. All right?
Oh, you won't see. They don't plan on doing
Yeah, I
anything.
know they said they didn't plan on doing it, but it depends on how much
How much
if
money
they
they make.
if they see they make a whole massive amount of money off of
They
this.
don't care.
I know that they say they don't care because their plan is they don't
No,
want to
they
read.
literally don't care.
I read the thing of
And Zack Snyder doesn't care. So it
no,
left
but that's why
between
Zach put
him,
everything into this one just in case
right?
it
Because
didn't
even
pan
if
out.
they want him to do it, he don't want to do it. And then
Eh,
they say they don't want him to do it. Sides who don't want to do it.
You know, if you give Zach a year or 2 years and Ben want to do it and Henry say he'll do it, then it'll happen. Because like Wonder Woman's still around, Flash still around. The hardest part is they have the executives have to apologize to Cyborg. That's literally the only thing that would prevent it. Because the guy who plays Cyborg is not, he's not effing with WB at all until the executives apologize to him for what happened between him and Josh. Right? And it's like clearly they're like, we refuse to apologize. We will never apologize because then we can't admit that we was wrong. And that we was picking the wrong side. So like that's really what's holding it up, in my opinion. Because I feel like it's easy to Zach would finish it off if you say you could do it however you want to do it, and we're gonna give you the time to do it. We ain't gonna rush you to do it. If Ben Affleck and Henry come back, that's a sure thing. But they can't do it without Cyborg because then it's like, oh well, then y'all picking sides and y'all picking the wrong side because this guy was wrong and we all know he was wrong. Especially now looking at the movie that Zach wrote versus the movie that Josh Whedon put out is like, yeah, he was trying to cut it for time, but literally the movie didn't make sense because you chop out all of this. Right. You cut out the most important character. This is actually, if we had to pick a person to be like, this is their standalone film, it's a Cyborg standalone film. And Batman is the narrator. Superman don't come until halfway through the movie. We like 2 hours and something minutes in when Superman finally shows up. So it's not a Superman movie. Wonder Woman, as always, a supporting character, right? Batman is a narrator. This is a Cyborg movie. But it's like, it didn't feel like that. What?
Flash is a sidekick.
Right, yeah, right, exactly. And so I like Martian Manhunter. I like the fact that they put what's her name? Oh God. Flash girlfriend. Ivy. Iris. What I know begin with an I.
Iris West.
Right. Put her
West in the
they put her
building.
inside it. I didn't know the Atom guy was a thing, but I'm glad he's in it. The Mummy is in it. She wasn't in the other one at all. The daddy has more parts inside this one. Right,
Cyborg's loving brother.
Right, Cyborg Mummy. Right. Then it's like I like
Mummy or your daddy.
So, yeah, Mummy was in it.
The Mummy, you know, like the Tom Cruise movie.
Right, the Mummy, the Mummy. But it the whole thing. Looking at it once again from a 2021 perspective, after all we've endured and suffered, right, since 2017, suddenly this movie makes too much sense. Right? And it's like the Zack Snyder, people like bring on the Snyderverse. It's like we live in the Snyderverse. That all of this is real. Like this is exactly how the world works. Like all this power isn't concentrated on one person. But if you read these as like analogous, if you read these as like nations or superpowers or whatever, it's like, oh, this is how it works. We hope that these very powerful, rich nations will do the right thing to protect people of Earth from nefarious powers or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like they are very powerful. and they can mistakenly wipe out a lot of people. I was just like, this is, and once again, it's like what do they call it? Authorial intent. We don't know if that's what Zach is trying to say, but it feels very much like this feels like what Watchmen was in the 80s, but for now, if it was finished. Where it's like we're getting to the point where it's like, and once again, I think it might literally be a situation where Zach is unaware of the irony of his piece, right? Because like Watchmen is an interrogation of superheroes, and somehow Watchmen only happened because they wouldn't let him use real characters. He wanted to use Batman, and they wouldn't let him use Batman. He wanted to use Superman, they wouldn't let him use Superman. So he had to create Dr. Manhattan. He had to use Owlman. He had to use these other characters because they wouldn't let him use the actual characters. And now we're looking at this, and it's like these are the actual characters, and they kind of feel like Watchmen. Like the level of violence, the level of disregard, the level of nothing can really stop me is all there. And so it's like, what is Zach saying, whether or not he intends to say it? You know, but Fano hates the epilogue, so that's the important thing.
You be Greece.
What?
You be Greece.
What?
Digress.
Oh no, I don't digress. Fano hates the epilogues. He didn't like the one with,
because they were no, I did not like the one about the future because I felt it was done way better in Cyborg's premonition where the computer said don't do this because such and such is gonna happen. And that whole scene between Joker and Batman, that weird gay thing they were doing where they up in each other's face.
Brotherhood. This guy. It wasn't completely sexual.
Okay.
No,
yeah,
you see, the problem is,
which is
they just wanted to do the scene from the Dark Knight, but of course they couldn't do that, right? It was just a reiteration of the we're destined to do this forever. An immovable object versus an unstoppable force. You know,
which is here's the thing.
Literally their version of that.
Yeah, but that's in every version because Jack Nicholson's own did that as well.
Yeah, but nobody cared about
what
version, right? I'm talking about today. You don't have 20-year-olds talking about Jack Nicholson's version of the Joker, right?
Haters, boy, haters. What do you say about it?
All of the epilogues, besides one where Cyborg died, is talking. We're clearly like, okay, these are some ideas we were thinking about for the future. That's just I see if we can connect them at the end of this. And I was like, this is dumb. Really, do we need to have this? I want you. Already, like, I was like, it was poorly done, because the CGI with the last one, that was terrible.
They didn't give him a large budget to finish the CGI.
I get that, but it's like, why even put that in there? Like, these are ideas that are never going to come true. These are all based off, like, already things people know. Why are you even adding them on? Like,
no, but here's the thing. I'm glad he put it there because what he's done is, even if it doesn't happen, we finally got to, and Patrick can attest to this, I have been asking since Superman Returns for Black Suit Superman now that I've finally gotten my wish.
But you realize that was in the movie, not in the epilogue where you decapitate Batman's head.
In
Steppenwolf. That was in Cyborg's premonition.
Oh, well, yeah, no. I understand that. I'm not. Yeah.
I'm just trying to make the point that we didn't need it.
Well, see, okay, so this is my point. My point is, I understand what you're saying, right? But I think he just wanted to put as close a cap on where he was going with it as possible, knowing that it wasn't going. It probably is not going any further than this, right? But when I saw that, and I've told you guys this multiple times, clearly this is an injustice storyline sort of situation, right? You see, Lois is pregnant, which is how injustice starts off. Superman comes and tells Batman, he wants to tell Batman that him and Lois are having a kid. Batman's like, "Oh, congratulations! Oh, how'd you know? Because you're smiling and blah 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 blah." And then Superman mistakenly kills Lois, and that turns him over because Joker tricked him into killing Lois, and then it's a whole thing. Everybody starts getting murdered. You got to pick sides, and now it's like you cannot stop Superman. I see that being where they're going, and in my grasp, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw Martian Manhunter floating out of the sky, at first I thought it was Superman, and I was afraid because although I know where it is headed, if that was Clark coming to tell Bruce that Lois is pregnant, I don't know. I'd be like, no, they're going to show her. They're going to show her getting murdered in this movie, and I'm not emotionally prepared for that. But they didn't show.
Did you realize she lives? They did.
What?
They showed her skeleton. They showed the skeleton.
Yeah, but they didn't show her being murdered. And the thing is, you see a skeleton, man is supposed to kill her.
Yeah, that's why Darkseid. I'm like, it's gonna be all right, buddy.
Right.
Even though I tricked you into murdering your wife.
Well,
it's gonna be good.
I guess it's gonna be. We're gonna find out. We'll never find out if Darkseid tricked them or if Joker tricked them. But
I don't think Darkseid tricked him. I think Darkseid is comforting him. He's like, I told you, you should have joined me. Let's destroy this world together.
This world is evil.
But I'm pretty sure Darkseid had a part to play in it. I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean?
Maybe he joined the Joker. The Joker was like, hey, I'll tell you how to get rid of the Kryptonian.
I have a question in terms of the anti-life equation. Is that how Darkseid gets his Omega beam? Because he didn't have it in this movie. Did he?
He did have it.
He had it in the future thing, but it's like, is that what?
Oh, that was future. It might be, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were saying the eyes would, yeah. So maybe that's it. Maybe like it's a power up formula. Who the devil knows? Whole thing is,
he didn't really fight though.
No, but even like when he's fighting one. Did he have it when he's fighting Wonder Woman? Oh, I can't remember. Well,
no, he's fighting in the past against the gods.
He was fighting against them.
But he didn't have his eyes. Because if he had his eyes, he would use them. Trust me. That's all Darkseid does now. Is use his eyes to murder people.
Which makes the most sense, wouldn't you?
Much.
Like, why would you do anything else? So, anybody have any final comments since we've decided to make this?
It was a good movie. It was a good movie. It was a step up. That's all I can say about it. I mean, watch it.
It was like a dance movie because it was a step up.
I know it's a terrible joke. Close your mouth, please. Terrible joke, buddy. Awful. Yeah, put the camera on me. I appreciate that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, watch the movie, guys. Watch it. Watch it in 2 parts.
It's only twice as long as this video.
Watch part 1 to 4, and then watch 4 to whatever.
No, watch it all in one sitting. You don't need to go to work tomorrow. Work is for losers. Patrick?
Now that they've seen this movie, I think Snyder Cut needs a Snyder Cut. Because it's way too long. There are scenes that are super pointless. And so I would not recommend anybody to watch this movie as a movie. Like, you can watch it in parts. You don't even have to watch it all together. Like, it's just like, yeah, I think it's okay for, like, certain scenes are great. Like, as a as a whole, it's better than what we were offered in the first. You're not gonna go and sit down in a theater and watch this thing. It's ridiculous. But I think that was the point of it. I think it was supposed to be this ridiculous sort of over packed, just scene after scene, just overindulgence of what could have been. And I think if you approach it from that perspective, then it's okay. But if you're looking at it as a movie, like a complete project to be consumed, right, like altogether as an art piece, then it fails at being a good movie because of all the pieces that are unnecessary. But other than that, it was cool.
I got you.
Yeah.
I have nothing else to add. I think it's a great movie. You should watch it in its entirety at once in one sitting. People do it all the time when they binge watch, and this is a cohesive
No, but
story.
even those are episodic, right? So it's like
that's what
it
I'm
has a
saying.
different feel.
I agree with Skipper. It's like if this movie came out as a mini series,
Exactly.
I thought that a mini series would have been pretty great.
It could have worked like that, but because it feels like too many moving parts that don't make sense together, right? And then you pick out, like, the reason why I said it could, for example, I remember like someone did Breaking Bad as a film, right? But all they did was just edit the series together, like, and it was good, right? So it's like you could do that with this movie. I'm just saying, like, the parts that were unnecessary aren't necessarily bad, or they're not necessarily, things that you don't need to see, but they're things that don't need to be a part. You could shave those off and you'd still have something great, But I think he was just like, hey man, this is it. I'm gonna give you everything that was going on in my head, everything. Even when like Vano mentioned the epilogues, like he was like, yeah, have those too. Those weren't needed. But he was like, yeah, who cares? Screw it. Just
he also made up the part with the Joker, because that was his like I said, that was the trade-off portion. But the same way I feel about Batman versus Superman, where it's like you think it's good when you watch the 2-hour version. When you add the extra 30 minutes of the director's cut, and it's 2 hours and 30 minutes, it's even better. And so
what is he talking about?
You gotta watch the full version of Batman versus Superman.
Nobody thought that movie was good.
I've watched it multiple times. All right?
Can I say something? I didn't think it was bad.
Because you're a crazy person.
People will be like, oh, this is so terrible. I didn't think it was terrible.
It wasn't terrible, but that makes it even worse. It's just a bad movie. At least you can enjoy terrible films. I can't enjoy this movie. I can't even watch this movie to humor myself.
Anyway.
It is too bad to rewatch.
Up next, Mortal Kombat.
When we talk about terrible movies,
this movie is too boring, dude. It's boring.
What you talking about? Batman versus Superman?
Yes.
We don't have time for that. It's 2 hours. Thank you for watching. Up next, Mortal Kombat.
Priest is a terrible movie. Watch Priest.
Don't watch Priest.
Terrible.
Watch it if you want to go to sleep. That was the worst movie ever.
No, exactly. And it was also boring. So was Batman versus Superman.
Good day.
Boring.
You are a liar. Mute his mic. Where is it? Can I do that? Oh, well, I can't mute your mic. Patrick is talking foolishness. Good day, everyone. We will see you later. Why?